What's going on, everyone?
Hey everyone.
Welcome to episode 3 of Gardening Live. We're just going to be going through our, every day we're taking care of plants here, but we figured we'd do a weekly check-in and show you guys some of the stuff we're up to. And yeah, so come join with us. The things we have today, Mandy's more organized than me, so she put together a list.
Well, it's a couple things we have to do. We want to pH test the reservoir that feeds the flood table that's behind us. Sorry, I thought this did that. Oh, I'm the worst. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at this. So we're going to pH test this flood table over here. As I'm sure a lot of you on here know, if you don't have the right pH, you can lock essential nutrients out for your plants. So we'll make sure that that's going well so the plants can get all the food they need out of there. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to check for mealybugs. We've been spraying weekly and we think we've almost knocked them out, but we're going to check a few of our trapped plants to see if we've gotten them all. Then we're going to check on our grafts. We did a passion fruit graft as well as a cactus graft, and I think that might be it. I think we're gonna maybe. Oh, we underwatered a few plants, so we're gonna talk about the consequences of that and what to be aware of. Anything else, Matt?
That's all. So let's get going. Do you want to start? I'll let you run the show. Tell me where to start.
Well, do you want a pH test and I'll film you? Okay.
Let me grab my meter.
The cell phone camera's live. Okay, Matt's grabbing his meter.
So I did yesterday add a bunch, 100 mLs of citric acid to this because it was alkaline once again. But I also added another 30 or so gallons today after draining it out from the fish tank. So let's take a peek at the pH. My prediction is 7, let's say. How's it looking?
Whoa!
Oh, man, this tank, the biochar has been really pushing the alkalinity up, but that's not nearly where it's been drifting to. All right, it's still going up. All right, so let's just say it's 7.25. I'm gonna get this moving again. Let's turn this on. Should we put the light on for this?
Yeah.
That looks nice.
Looks so nice.
So I love these guys. These these digital ones, you just got to remember to press it twice. One time turns it on, and 2 times. So there's this little button here. Mess with these. So I always, once is off, but then if you want to make sure it goes back on schedule, you got to press it twice to go back into auto. Press it again to turn on. Now, if I don't press it one more time, it's just going to stay on forever. So press it on to auto, and now it's on auto. All right, cool. So I'm going to do some citric acid again. Oh, and actually, let me show you guys something. This block right here. Talk about a feed block, like a nutrient block. So this was a really gross filter in my shrimp tank. And I actually decided to pull it out because I think last week we discovered basically our shrimp tanks were too clean. And I mean, look at this. This is where that clean was coming from. I'm actually interested. We just did a pH test, 7.25. I want to see if I start squeezing this out, the amount of fertilizer. I should have done a ppm. Let me grab a ppm too. All right, pass that to me. All right, so let's see how this affects things. Let's get the ppms. So right now, let's say before I start really squeezing it out, it's at 668. And now I'm going to squeeze this guy out. Let's see how much. I don't know if this is going to alter the ppms too much because it's really well broken down. It's just probably like organic sediment. And at the end of the day, if it was soluble and it was going to really do a lot to interact with the water, it would have already dissolved out. So this is kind of like the remnant organic matter that kind of sits in a filter. Tons of microbes though, which is cool. And I'm doing it on this side. I'm hoping it's going to flood right up. Right, nice and clean. Let's see if that affects things at all. Curious. All right, let's measure again. Not much. See? Barely affected the ppms. So all that dirty water now that
Did it
will
change the pH though? That's a lot.
Let's check the pH.
It was 7.25. Oh, that was. Oh, got it. Okay.
That was the ppms, and so neither did it really affect much. It's pretty much exactly the same, interestingly. So it's all this organic sediment. It's kind of like chunks of material that's already been broken down and solubilized wherever it can. That being said, it's great for microbes. and it will continue to break down in here and feed the plants gently, which is nice. Everything in here is looking great, and I definitely would say the pH, really, we hadn't been monitoring the pH well, and as a result, it was a little slow. I actually am almost out of citric acid, so which is fine. I'm only going to put 25 mLs in about right now, maybe 30. So let's see if we even have enough. So we only have about 15 right now, so this isn't even enough. But I'll add this for now. I'm going to let flood in and give it kind of an acidic wash into the flood table. I'll add more later, but I don't want to make you guys go help me get some more. All right, cool. So that is the flood table looking good. I definitely found, I've brought the pH to a healthier level around, 6.5 to 7 is where I'm trying to keep it, and trying to keep my ppms around 600 to 800, and that seems to be pretty perfect for these guys. So, yeah.
All right. Should we do grafts or mealybug hunting?
Let's do grafts.
Okay.
Grafting has not gone great, which I kind of expected. It was way too dry for these citrus grafts to take. So you can see this is clearly a failed graft at this point, which is okay. And these plants were a little small. I was bummed about this passion fruit graft right here. I thought this was going to take, I must have done something, I must have overdone with this guy. But basically, I thinned out, I don't know if you guys can see this, 2 strips from 2 separate passion fruit vines. And unfortunately, one of the branches has died. I'm not sure why. I think it might have died down here because it looks dead all the way at the base. It's a bummer. So I'm going to try this one again. I think this will work. But it didn't. It didn't, and that's okay. The cactus looks good. You want to go visit that guy?
Yes.
All right. Mandy's in charge of the cactus.
I'm nervous about the cactus, too.
I think it looks good.
I really want it to work. So it's been 14 days, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Should I take the elastics off?
Oh. Wow.
Or just let it be? I know.
Is it dry, by the way? How dry is it?
It's pretty dry.
Should we give it some water?
Yeah, I want to give it some water.
I don't know if I want to take the...
I know, it's like, why mess with it? I think technically
give it
you
another week or so.
can, but why would you?
I think we should definitely give it a little water.
Okay. I'm going to grab this.
And water is going to be a topic that we'd already talked about a little, but we're going to show you some real... Look at this poor guy. One of our good friends gave us this bonsai, and such a nice guy. And I didn't want to overwater it, but I definitely underwatered it. I'm seeing, some stuff dropping off, but
I don't know if there's any citric acid in here. I just don't want to blast that cactus.
Yeah,
with citrus acid. That would be bad.
It should be good. All the citric acid's in the flood table, so.
Yeah, but I just making sure. Okay.
All right.
Should I have her?
Now, should you ever wet and miss the top part of the graft?
I know. I would love comments on this.
Here, I'm going to go to the other side.
Oh, sure. I would love comments on this, but from what I understand, humidity in cactus grafting can be a little bit of the enemy. So my guess is no, but I would love for anyone who's done cactus grafting to chime in.
Okay. Now bonsai are, let's talk watering. And we've been so used to houseplants, which don't drink as much and don't need as much water, but this is what underwatering.
If you want to focus in right here, I'll touch this leaf. Got it? See it?
Yeah, and one of the big challenges, and me and Mandy were talking about this, is that when you underwater, sometimes what happens is if it gets this bad, you see that the leaves are dying off, right? What's also died off is the roots at some level. And so if you go back to your full watering schedule and oversaturate, you might wind up in this, what's the way to say it? Like you wind up exacerbating a problem. Well, now your roots.
Overcorrecting.
So now you're overcorrecting unintentionally by just going back to the original, but you need to take down watering a little bit because now there's less root matter, less leaf matter, so you need less water. So you kind of ease up, and there's also dead roots that are a great spot for root rot to occur. So you want to slowly increase watering until you start seeing leaves return. It's funny. This was the bigger one in the first place, and so I had been watering more aggressively with it. This guy right here, um, and matching it. And the citrus are also. These guys have been drinking like crazy. I'll show you another underwater plant.
They're next to a really high-powered light too.
Yeah, and it's just so dry in here.
Yeah.
So we came in, and this fig was wilting, and this little guy here, it's popping back. My kaffir lime. But you can see there's some little brittle pieces. Am I getting that, Mandy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
So you can see that, but it's popping back. I'm seeing some beautiful new growth up here too. And so to me, healthy citrus is all about new growth. And this one's starting to get some new growth too, which is awesome. I'm really happy to see that. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Let me show you guys something. So I'm just gonna pinch it off too. So this is a grafted citrus. Wow, this guy got so big. There was so much room before. Okay, and so you can see this is below where the graft is. Now you might say, "Oh, look at that new growth. That looks great." What that's going to do is it's the root stock. So I don't know what type of tree that is, but it's not the same as this variegated variety, which is what we're going for. It's something that's really vigorous and basically works well with something that maybe isn't, like this guy. And so I'm going to make sure to pull these little suckers off. And I just touched it. It's kind of brittle. So it popped right off. Check for any others. I'm just going to keep doing that. Anytime I see a sucker below the graft, I'm going to break it off.
Nice.
So yeah, that easy.
Okay. Something you just said, Matt, reminded me of, just to highlight it again, because you taught me this years ago, was it like if the top of your plant is struggling, you can bet that underneath the soil is struggling. And I think it's so obvious, but it's something that I think about a lot because it's easy to forget because you can't see below the soil. And so it's like if you've stressed your roots on top, you've probably stressed your roots below. And that's something to consider when you're doing your rehab strategy. To your point, if you overwater something that's starting to have dead and dying roots, you're going to make the issue worse. Okay, so I think let's look. I think the last thing we're gonna do is check for mealybugs because we did the grass. Yeah, that was the last thing. And then we talk. If you want to talk a little bit about the watering that you did earlier. Okay, we have been battling mealybugs, as many of you who have been following us know. And it's what I like to do once we've beaten them back. And for the most part, you don't see any. There are a few plants that tend to get mealybugs first if you're going to have an issue. I call them canary in the coal mine plants. Matt has told me that their official name is called trap plants.
It's like a permaculture nerdy.
Yeah, and they're kind of nice to have around because it's like you just can go look at
for?
those. Canary in the coal mine plants.
I like that too. That's good.
Yeah, like they kind of tell you like something's about to happen. And I'm not going to be discouraged if we find mealybugs on them because mealybugs hatch out in cycles, and we're just going to keep spraying until we stop seeing them every week, and so we're okay.
And I have a surprise for you, but it's not a great one. I definitely have started seeing some mealybugs pop up around the aquaponics system, and I'm even seeing a more mature mealybug that I want to show you. So we should address that. I think for that one, just a thought, and I want you to mull on this.
Yeah.
Just isopropyl is what I'm thinking because that will totally annihilate
the
mealybugs.
Yeah.
Plus, it evaporates out completely. So I worry about residues getting in the fish tank.
Right.
Even though neem and soap and low levels are safe, our discus fish in particular are really sensitive.
Yeah,
so I think if we just use isopropyl, it'll never even get to the fish tank because it'll evaporate off and
I agree.
do a good job.
I couldn't agree more. That's
my thought. I was thinking through.
That's a great aquaponics solution for mealybugs in your above your aquaponics setups or as part of your aquaponics setup. All right, here we go. These are the ones that I typically, and I see a few on here, and in the very small stage, which is fine. It means some eggs have hatched after we sprayed, which is okay. Some of the nymphs have moved around and have started to do the adult phase, and this is the plants that I see them on first, which is why this plant is struggling, is because it is very prone to mealybug attacks, and we obviously are battling mealybugs right now. One there. And then it looks like you can see down on these stems, which is also why it's so important to spray the stems. Boop, all right there. Let's just check the underside. Yep. So small dots. Not the giant mealybugs you're used to seeing, but that's kind of what we're looking for.
That's the crawler
Um,
phase. Those are the
yep.
little guys. They're easier to annihilate, but they move quick, and they're really the cause of problem spreading.
Yep, and it looks like a few are on the adjacent plants. Ooh, what's that? What is that?
That is commonly called the toilet fly.
Really?
So if you leave like water standing, those are the little flies that you'll see. I forget what they're called. There's an actual name for them, of course. But like standing water, if someone like leaves a toilet.
Ooh, look at this one. So we'll get that. That might be some residue.
Too. It looks like something's killing them.
Oh yeah.
And so, have you noticed, by the way, over here, my theory about this is where the worms are really active, and I'm seeing like no mealybugs or pests over here. I think it's working. These worms are starting to really proliferate. You can see there's tons of flies here, but these are non-pathogenic. They're not going after plants. They're just going after the compost. They're annoying. They go after our food, but that larva and like these guys provide food for predators, which will eat other things.
Yep. Okay, so we're definitely going to spray. Show me the aquaponics system, and I agree. I need to purple alcohol.
You want to grab that laptop?
Yes.
Thank you. Hi, fish. I'm probably going to trim this back. It's funny. Per suggestion, I don't know, not plant related, but one of my friends was like, they might want more room to swim. So I always thought like more plant matter was better. I cleared out this tank earlier today, and is this a little bit of a distraction? Can I quickly show people?
Of course.
Let me just show you guys. So I just did a trim, and I think they seem to be happier. They seem less less prone to hiding. They seem to be schooling better.
And so your theory is there's more clearance room for them?
Yeah, more room. Yeah. Our friend Nick Flanagan, awesome fish care guy, and he said, they might want more room to swim around. I always feel like they want more shelter, but they do seem more confident now that I've removed. I took a huge log out of here and then trimmed up a bunch of grass.
Looks really good.
And they seem happier. They seem like, it's funny when they don't have a spot to like all hide, it almost like reduces their anxiety for some reason. I don't know why. I've noticed that with fish before. It's almost like giving them a hiding spot reduces anxiety.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good. And actually, you're right. They're kind of up in front of the glass. It's really happy.
So I might trim this guy back a little, but
I think that's a great idea. Like
one thing that's
this long stuff.
Yeah,
I
just
like that
a
idea.
little opening. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of open space in here for these guys, and look at the ppms. It's unbelievable. This water. I mean, these plants are going so well.
I know.
That the parts per million in this tank just keep dropping. They're down to 55, which is nuts.
Wow. And what was the res?
I think the res is 60, like now that I tested.
Yeah, I mean,
so well, I'll watch that drift. I noticed it was like drifting before I did a change, and yeah.
And this is where you saw the mealybugs. This
system? Let me show you a few of them. So, oh yeah, look at this.
Yeah, no, you're right in there. Hold on, I'll put my finger on it. Oh, right here. Look at this.
So they're really infesting right here.
Yep.
Looks like there was a hatch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. Ready? Wait, look at this. Maybe I'll take this whole branch off because it seems like this is an infected branch. And let's just burn this outside.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
this is the branch. It's actually really interesting. So they do have to crawl, right? They don't fly. So I'm just going to get this guy outside.
Put it in the freezing cold. I love it.
Wait, follow me with this.
Yes.
And this should work.
Bye-bye, mealybugs and inch plant.
Sorry, inch plant. All right. Well, I think that really actually just removed a majority of them. That being said, obviously they've sprayed.
Yeah, we'll spritz them.
So we should spray this area, but that seems to be where they all
the big
were.
hatch site, yeah.
I noticed something around here. I'm sure they're everywhere else now, but
yeah.
We'll just have to really keep our eye on this. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll get spraying then. Anything else?
I think that's all I've got. Anyone have any questions or comments or anything you guys want to go over? I think we're good.
We're good.
So I think for that we will wrap up. Anything else?
No, that was everything I wanted to check out.
All right, let us know if you guys have any questions between now and next week. Otherwise, we'll see you in a week.
See you in a week.